Welcome to Flow into Alignment. Today I'm going to discuss what the difference is between yin versus restorative and what they even are. So come, join me as I discuss this today. So what is, first of all, yin and restorative styles of yoga? They are a restful and relaxing style of yoga, where you are in positions that allow your body to relax, allow the muscles of your body to relax. And for me, I feel like I get a lot more out of it than if I was to have a massage. I feel like the muscles of my body are able to relax and let go of all their knots. It does take a period of time, but I feel like at the end of a yin style class that I am so much more relaxed than I would be after a massage, and it seems to last a whole lot longer as well. So then what makes the difference between yin and restorative? If they're very similar, what makes them different? Well, for restorative, you typically are in yoga poses for anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. So you are using props, which we'll talk about in just a minute. You're using props to hold your body in that position in a way that feels restful, and you are holding that for, again, anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Yin, on the other hand, you are in the position for anywhere between 1 to 5 minutes. So you are in the position for a lot shorter of a time. So therefore, you can go into positions that require a little bit more of a stretch out of your muscles than if you're restorative. That's why a lot of times if you were to see a restorative class or watch a restorative video, you would see that they're mostly in positions where you're laying down, or if you're forward, you're almost sitting up, so that you're not putting a lot of stretch on your muscles because you're having to be in those positions for, like I said, up to 10 minutes. In yin, you can put a little bit more of a stretch into your muscles so that you try to get a little bit more of a release out of them because you're only in that for 5 minutes. So then I did mention props. So what are props? They're anything that can be used to support the body. So for instance, right now, let me show you what I'm using as my prop as I'm sitting here. Let me come off, sit up. I'm using a block right now. So a block can be used when you're seated to help prop you, because a lot of times for me, if I'm seated for a long time with my legs crossed, my hips start hurting and my knees start hurting. So I just want to take that pressure off of my hip joints. So I lift my hips off the ground by sitting on a block. Some other props that can be used, especially if you're going into a yoga studio, are bolsters. They can be rectangular bolsters, cylindrical bolsters that are about 3 feet long, yoga blocks. Sometimes they'll provide blankets. Sometimes they'll even provide like a weighted thing to put on your eyes or on your feet. But then you might ask, what if I don't have access to those, especially at my home? What can I use? I'm glad you asked, because that's what I'll show you next. So here are some things I've gathered from around my house. I do have a typical bolster. So this is a rectangular bolster. It is about almost 2 feet in length, and this is what you would typically see in a yoga studio. But what if you don't have something like this? Then you would gather pillows. So you could use pillows from your couch. I would definitely recommend that you grab pillows that you would typically use on your bed, because they're going to be long enough for you, because sometimes you want them to support either your chest, or when you're leaning forward, or when you're leaning back, you want them to support your back from your head all the way to your rib cage. So that is quite a long distance, and you want something that will support you and that is the same thickness. So if you have several different couch pillows, that's not going to work the same. So I would definitely recommend you do that. So another thing I have, of course, is a block. And I have a blanket. This is just a nice fuzzy blanket. You can get any kind of blanket. Typically what you would find in a yoga studio is something more along the lines of a cotton blanket, a little bit heavier, something that would give a little bit more weight, but a regular blanket, and this is actually just like a lap style blanket, so it's not even that long. I just would fold it up and use it, or stretch it, or unfold it and drape it across my body if I'm feeling chilly. So the blanket has multiple different purposes. The other thing I have is a wheel. Now you may not have a wheel, and that is okay. You do not need it. But again, it's just a great tool to use if you're trying to lean forward. You can rest your chest forward over it, drape your arms, and just kind of rest here. But you do not need it. I just wanted to show you what I have around my house. Another thing you can use is a rolled up yoga mat. So in place of a cylinder bolster, you would just grab your yoga mat, roll it up, and use it. Now, if you have a thicker yoga mat, sometimes it'll be better because it'll be about the span of your hand, so the length of your hand. That's about the height that you want a cylinder to be. 6 inches is a good height. So if you have a really, really thin yoga mat, it may not work as well, but it still may work. If you have a body pillow, that would be a great thing to use as well. Or if you have a cylinder pillow, because again, you can adapt it to what you need. A lot of times you'll use it in front of you to just add another layer to be able to add more pillows onto. So that is all of the supplies that I found around my house. So I'm going to link a Yin Yoga class in the links below. If you would like to try a Yin class, if you've never taken one, be sure to check out the links below and see. Make sure to gather your supplies before you do the class, or hit pause and grab those. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day.